The Yankees just robbed the MLB as the first three picks of the 2025 MLB Draft are projected to be absolute steals for this farm system and the future of the New York Yankees. We'll break down what each player brings to this organization and how the sky is the limit for these young studs down at the farm. What's going on, guys? Alex Brooks back here on Yankees Digest, giving you guys a daily dose of Yankees content every day of the week. And if you guys are not a part of that 24% who are subscribed to these videos, you guys better hit that subscribe button down below, comment down below to join in on the conversation. Me and Chris, even though it is All-Star break week, we are still giving you content every day of the week. But let's get right into this video as talking about these three first picks for the New York Yankees. We'll start off with Dax Kilby, the shortstop out of Newman High School. He was definitely someone that the Yankees were very ecstatic about. They're ecstatic about his ceiling. He is only 17 years old, so he definitely has a lot of potential, only being 17 years old, and the Yankees are ecstatic with his production that he did in high school. He was batting nearly 500 and he led his team to a state title win. So definitely someone who is a born winner and also someone who is so young who can come into this Yankees organization and learn from plenty of coaches down in the minor leagues and just make his way up. And only being 17 years old, someone who can really come in here and produce. And when looking just about his stats as a high school senior. This was from the Yankee Report on Twitter. So the left-handed hitter is 6'2", 190 pounds. As a high school senior, Kilby hit .495 with 5 homers, 42 RBIs, and 5 strikeouts in 99 at-bats over 36 games, leading to the state championship. So definitely someone who is a born winner, and that's what you want to see out of someone, whether it is from high school, whether it's from college. You want to see someone who has experienced the highs of the highs, the championship experience at any sort of level, and that's definitely impressive when talking about Dax. And he was nearly hitting 500, and he led his team to a 32-5 record. And I understand that it's high school, but that's so impressive from a guy who is a little undersized. I mean, he's 6'2", 190, so he might have to put on a little bit of muscle when he is in the minor leagues, but definitely someone who is going to get on base and be a productive hitter. More exciting stuff when hearing from Brian Hawk on MLB.com, talking a little bit more about Dax Kilby. He said Dax is a strong-bodied and athletic left-handed hitting shortstop, said David Oppenheimer, the Yankees vice president of domestic amateur scouting. We really like his potential and ability to swing the bat. Plus, he's an excellent runner. As a high schooler, Dax has already shown an accomplished bat, a great feel to hit, and on top of that, some pop, which is exciting for us. And it's definitely exciting for Yankee fans as well when talking about Dax Kilby out of Georgia. And when looking at the first rounders that the Yankees have been able to produce into superstars, you obviously got the main one, Aaron Judge, some other prominent starters for the New York Yankees on this 2025 team, Anthony Volpe, Austin Wells, Spencer Jones, who has been lighting up in AAA, and then you got Clark Schmidt. So you got a lot of guys in the first round, a good track record when talking about getting guys out of the first round. So it'll definitely be interesting if Dax Kilby can follow in those footsteps of Wells, Volpe, Clark Schmidt, and Aaron Judge. But moving over to the second guy that was taken for the New York Yankees, who's actually in round 3, was Caden Kent, the shortstop out of Texas A&M, guy who is a big-time player, and he raises his game when the lights are brightest, and that's something that everyone wants to see. When you are going into a playoff game, a World Series game, you kind of compare it to Giancarlo Stanton. He might not do a lot in the regular season, but when the lights get brightest in the postseason, you know that he can really turn it on, and that's something that Caden Kent did in the playoffs for Texas A&M. A little bit more about him. He striked out under 14%. So he's a very balanced hitter, and he's also very flexible. He can play all over the field, short, third, and second. And just a little bit more about the Texas A&M shortstop. He broke out, as I mentioned before, in the postseason run for 2025. And Chris Burke said he was the most MLB ready guy on Texas A&M this past season. So that's going to have Yankee fans fired up for Caden Kent. And he's definitely someone who really plays with an attitude and comes into every at bat with that attitude to get on base and do damage. And talking more about how tough Caden is, this was from his head coach, Michael Early at Texas A&M. He said he's extremely tough and he walks that edge when he plays. Sometimes it spills over, and that's okay. He's everything you can ask for in a player, just that mentality, that killer instinct. He's going up there with bad intentions. Those bad intentions sometimes get him in trouble, but he's done a really good job this year of dialing it back when he needs to dial it back and growing up as a player. So definitely a guy that has, as I've said before, he has raised his game when the lights get brightest, and he just has that attitude. As the head coach said, he has that killer instinct. He has that sort of attitude that you want out of an MLB ball player. You know that if the going gets tough and he's in a slump, he still goes up to every at bat and tries to dominate and tries to do damage. And just a little bit more on his stats so far this season, or so far in his career. We look at his stats, the 265 batting average, and then the batting average just gets a little bit better in 2024 when he really did well at 327, and then kind of dropped off a little bit in batting average in 279. So far, he had 13 home runs in his 2025 season. So he really broke out with his home run production, and definitely someone who has that baseball in his blood. I mean, he's the son of Jeff Kent, who is a former MVP and All-Star, who really knows the game well. I mean, when you talk about guys who really know the game well and it goes to the family, you can just look at the top 4 pick for the Colorado Rockies, Ethan Holiday and Jackson Holiday, sons of Matt Holiday. So they have baseball in their blood. And then you also talk about Vlad Guerrero and Vlad Guerrero Jr. So there has been multiple instances where you have baseball in your blood and it really translates to the big game. And a little bit more on his fielding stats, because he can play everywhere. He can play in the infield, everywhere, short, third, and second. So the Yankees are trying to find versatility, not only just in the major leagues, but now when they're drafting these players. He has done really good in his 2024 season, and he's improved every single year. I mean, his 2024 season was obviously his peak, but then when you look at his 2025 season, definitely something that is very good to see when talking about his fielding. And then the last guy to talk about is Pico Khan, and this is a guy that I really liked that the Yankees selected. He's one of my favorite prospects, and one of the reasons why I like him is just I've always loved southpaws. They're definitely just an intriguing type of pitcher, a left-handed pitcher, and I really appreciate just the art of the southpaw, and it definitely really just gets me excited about prospects. So a little bit more on Pico Khan. His fastball is more into 91 to 95, but he is 6'4", so his range, height, and motion really fool hitters. So he's definitely someone who goes on there a little bit of moxie when he gets on the mound, and he's definitely shown that his height and his range can really affect hitters at the national collegiate level. And looking more on his statistics so far in his pitching, his ERA was the best in 2024, and that was coming off of a Tommy John surgery. So definitely impressive when coming off of an injury of Tommy John, that severity, and being able to pitch at a 3.38 ERA, pitched in only 29 innings, so he was just coming back. But then when you look at his production, it went up to 80 innings this past season, 4.73 ERA. So definitely acceptable when looking at Pico Khan's stats over his career. Baseball America dove deep into the mechanical side of Pico's game, and I just wanted to share that with you guys. Cone has a blend of pitchability and bat missing ability. Khan works from a 3/4 arm slot with a funky delivery that adds deception to a fastball that sits at 92 to 93 miles per hour and touches 95. His best secondary is a low 80 slider, which he throws with confidence and shows some ability to manipulate its shape. Will mix in a firm low 80s changeup and a slower curveball in the upper 70s. That was Baseball America on Pico Khan. And yeah, all of those prospects are just very interesting to me because they have different abilities. Dax Kilby, he's coming out of high school, so he's still very raw, but he does have that winner mentality. And then when you talk about Kent, he's coming from a baseball family who he has some pop from learning from his dad, and then he's just has that baseball mindset. And then when you talk about Khan, he's definitely someone who has the height, kind of like a Cam Schlittler right now, who the Yankees are trying to emulate with their tall pitchers to really make an impact. So guys, what do you think about all of these prospects? They're definitely exciting to see. They're going to be down the road and developing into this farm system and going to be future Yankees coming up in the latter years. But that's going to do it for another edition of Yankees Digest. My name is Alex Brooks, and hope you guys have a great night, and go Yankees.